Warning, the following video may not be suitable for all audiences. Although none of the following are going to be scripted. It is anticipated that there will be a wealth of drinking, smoking, cussing, and all-around shit talk. You have been warned. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Jaquel, the world's worst YouTuber, coming back at you today with a video filmed at my altar, because apparently this is a part of the current rebrand. Today I'm going to talk about some things. Probably going to talk about a lot. Talk about the future of my channel. Talk about the past of my channel. And where do I think we're going to go from here? Is there a single way at all whatsoever that I can make it so this isn't directly in my face? That's counterintuitive. We're going to try it. I'm going to move the camera around a lot. Let's get to it. For those of you who are... For those of you who are unaware, I have a TikTok channel where I talk mostly about witchy, spiritual, pagan, and occult topics. Not all the time. I've tried stopping several times, and I always wind up going back to it. But that's what most of that page is. And over on that page just the other day. Is this slide over here even going to be worth it? Maybe, I can't tell. Long story short, I was supposed to make a video for this platform the other day, and I aired a little bit of my grievances about how I am having a hard time figuring out what exactly to make for this platform. And it was in the comments of that video that several people said, well, why don't you just re-upload some of the videos that you do on TikTok over to YouTube? And my first thought was, but I don't wanna. You see, here's the thing. For a long time, I have wanted to keep this separate from that. I've wanted that to be the witchy shit that I'm doing, and I want this to be where I can get away and break away from the witchy shit. I haven't really been doing that, though. Back in the spring of 2022, I made an attempt to quit doing TikTok, and I just started focusing here. And even though I made some pretty decent content in that time, it wound up still being mostly witchy-dominated content that I made here. I made the I'm leaving witch talk, I made a couple of orc vlogs or whatever, just basic update video vlog that I was doing, still kind of do sometimes. All of it wound up being witchy and occult themed regardless. And I didn't like what I was doing with that. Because you see, what I was trying to do was leave TikTok and leave the witch talk greater community and detoxify from that particular brand of poison. But I came here and just wound up doing more of the same stuff. And that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to come here and go back to some of the stuff that I was doing previously, and this angle is doing nobody any favors. I am so sorry. At that time, what really was the point in leaving TikTok if I just came here to do more of that same shit? Really, genuinely, that is ultimately what that boiled down to, and eventually led me to go back to TikTok, and this wound up falling to the sidelines again. However, we are now a year and a half past that. A lot has happened, and I mean a lot has happened in that time since then. But I've still been holding on to this idea that I don't want to do what I did in spring of 2022, which is why I should not do a whole lot of witchy and occult content here. But I reevaluated that take. Ultimately, I am currently in a position where I want to do both. I want to do TikTok and I want to do YouTube. But I want to do YouTube more frequently because I enjoy making content here. It's a different feel, it's a different vibe, it's a different setting, there's a completely different process, and I like both. In the comments of that video that I made the other day, talking about some of my frustrations as to why I'm having a hard time making content here, people asked me, why don't you upload what you're doing on TikTok over to YouTube? And although that's a good idea, that is a tried and true idea that works for a lot of people. It's just not what I want to do. Ultimately, it comes back down to the conclusion that I don't want to do what I'm doing there, here. What's the point in having two platforms that are so different if you're doing the same thing at both places? The point for me in having two different platforms is so that I can have two completely different experiences. But what if there was a way? And then I started thinking. At the beginning of this calendar year, I made the video Here, My Liminal Hell, which was basically a 2022 in review. After that, I continued to make a couple of videos that were witchy or occult themed. And I actually enjoyed doing that. It was a lot like this one, where I just set my camera up on my altar, pointed the camera at the mirror, even though the phone itself is... I might as well be Wilson from Home Improvement. You see what I'm getting at here? Maybe this is how I'm going to be bestowing wisdom. Just cut myself off from the nose down. That way I don't have to see my whole face, and my double chin doesn't give me the body dysphoria that it oftentimes does. Maybe this will help. For better or worse, witchcraft and paganism just were not a part of my life the way that they are now when I first started doing stuff here. For better or worse, I had not spent over nearly 3 years constantly making witchy and occult content. I set this down, I picked up TikTok, and I've been having the hardest time trying to find a good, comfortable blend where I can do both. And what if I just said, you know what, fuck it, maybe this is the reboot that I have been looking for. Now, I have successfully rebooted my channel in the past. There was the first chunk of my uploading history here, and then I set it down for the better part of 2019, and at the end, I came back doing a couple of different videos, and I just started everything over. Let go of everything that I was trying to do in the past, and started back up with a Q&A video. Regardless of how silly it might seem now in hindsight, it was still a moment where I was able to turn around, scrap all of the projects that I was going to do previously, let go of all of it, totally, completely, and start over fresh. It worked then, why not do it again? The problem is, I have been holding on to the idea that I want to keep TikTok and YouTube separate. I have been holding on to this idea that I don't want this to be a witchy pagan because have you seen some of the witches on this platform? No, don't get me wrong. Please do not misunderstand me when I say that. There are some that I thoroughly, genuinely enjoy. We've got the Witch of Wonderlust. We have Chaotic Witch Aunt, aka Frankie. We have... Now, this is leaning more toward pagan. We've got Aaliyah Kai, one of my favorite pagan content creators here. And there's also Fel the Blythe. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I might not be. They have a thing that they do. They have a thing, and it works for them. And I enjoy that content. I really do. I can't picture myself doing that. I just can't see it. I wouldn't be able to take myself seriously. I'd be making fun of myself constantly, and don't get me wrong, I make fun of myself constantly as it is. Have you seen me? I am the butt of most of my jokes. Regardless, I can't see myself doing what they do. So, what if I can remedy all of these anxieties, and I open up the idea, the opportunity to not necessarily make this a complete rebranding where all I'm doing is witchy and pagan stuff. But I have so many topics, so many ideas, so many areas of study and research and knowledge, and I can just do what I'm doing here in this video, just being a goofball goober. But at the same time, taking on these topics. Do you see this? The lighting in here is absolutely dreadful. Also, Shay is now in the shot. Say hi to Shay. But here's the problem I'm having. When I turn this light on...
glare!
I have to keep my head directly in front of it, otherwise this is what we're getting the whole time. I need to do something about the lighting. I don't know what, but something. Let's get back to the point. I have already well established that part of my problem with making content here is a lack of inspiration, a lack of jumping points. It's really difficult for me to just pick something that's in my brain and make content out of that. Or in the very least, even if I do have an idea, it's a matter of how do we make this work for my YouTube platform, when I could just make a I don't know, 3 to 10 minute a video about it over at the other place. I don't need to have everything set up here and do it. I don't need to have everything set up and the camera and needing to move the clips over to my laptop, and when I could do it so much easier and so much more quickly. What's the point? However, there are some things that would be difficult to cover in that short amount of time, such as recently I have decided to connect with Dionysus, and this comes shortly after I have agreed to commit to Hellenic polytheism. Let's just focus on being Greek pagan, continue to study ancient Greek religion, and reconnect with that pantheon. And of course, first up is Dionysus. For those of you who are unaware about Dionysos, Bacchus, there are a lot of things about his worship in ancient times that just would not be allowed to perform well in any TikTok algorithm. It doesn't matter, because the man's in the OG ancient worship spent a lot of time with his cock out. Spent a lot of time rocking out with his cock out. Dionysus is also strongly associated with wine, and although there is a lot of historical, cultural, and religious context to be able to make sense of this and why, he still now gets typecast and stereotyped as a generic frat bro that's got a lot of issues. But at the same time, he's got a lot of associations with play, comedy, drama, tragedy, theater, masks, performance art. And what am I doing here if not that it is performance art? I'm seeing now, with just a little bit of cursory research, there is a lot of good that could come if I connect with Dionysus. Doesn't necessarily mean that he's willing, not necessarily, but he is the one that approached me, so I'm just gonna I'm gonna go ahead and see what happens. However, if this relationship does hit off, and I do wind up working long time with Dionysus and incorporating him into my life and my practice, there are some things that's going to be really difficult to try to cover on TikTok, and although it's not necessarily going to be fantastical over here, I at least have a better shot, at least in trying to cover it up in just a few videos as opposed to a huge long-ass playlist to cover as much as I want to, when all those videos would be certain to underperform. I also don't want to do this like anybody else does it. I don't want to do it in the way that other people on this platform do it. It's good for them. It's great for them. It works for them. I also enjoy that content and consuming it myself. So I'd have to do it all on my own, in my own way, using myself as the base of reference, and here's probably what the actual problem is. For the majority of the time that I have had a social media presence, so let's date this all the way back to 2017, okay? I started off, regrettably, emulating a lot of Shane Dawson's content. There are also a few videos that no longer have stood the test of time and have been forgotten to the sands of time that I emulated Matthew Santoro or Rob Gavigan, formerly known as Rob Dyke. There are a number of different content creators that I have taken inspiration from and then emulated. Sometimes I've been very on the nose with it, turning it into a meme, such as one of my favorite videos, a dedicated student of internet comment etiquette. There are some others where it's not necessarily I directly rip them off or anything like that, but the idea was there nonetheless. The orc vlogs were all started off emulating a lot of the stuff that Destry Smith used to do. We don't stand him here anymore since a lot of the shit that we know about him now has now come to light. What was I saying? Destry Smith is a total predator garbage creep, okay? Let's move on. You can search it up if you want to. Videos have been made about him here. Let's move on. I think at this point, at the tail end of 2023, I have done enough of the content in the past where I'm emulating what somebody else is doing, and over time I have found my own niche, my own style. And you can still see the fingerprints, the trademarks, the influences from all these other different content creators. But I am officially doing it in my own way. I am officially now doing it in such a way that I don't need to look for somebody else to bounce off of. But this is still different. This is going to still be a departure from everything else that I have done before. This is going to be me, and just me, doing my thing, and my thing alone. It is going to be me, just me, and nobody else. Other than Shay in the background.
Hey.
And oh my gods, I haven't even considered the idea of just doing content with the people I live with. Everybody in this house is witchy or pagan or something to some degree. That's how I met Shay to begin with. As weird and unusual as it might sound, we met because we're both witches and magical practitioners. She's a sorceress, I'm a whatever the fuck I feel like that day, whatever hat I'm wearing during what I'm feeling. Everybody in my house does something magical, spiritual, witchy, pagan, it doesn't matter. I hadn't even begun to consider the idea that maybe I am living with a coven. Because it's one bad day away from being a cult if you're not careful. You're witnessing in real time. Well, for me, I'm recording in real time. You're witnessing the moment when it was in real... Blah, 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 blah. You are witnessing in real time me realizing that this is actually genuinely from a business point of view as well, as a content creation point of view as well. Maybe this is how I'm going to get the wisdom out. Sometimes everything you need is right in front of your very eyes, and you didn't realize it until you open your real eyes. Real time realizing that there are opportunities here to be had that I had not considered before. And in the end, maybe, just maybe, it just might work. Fact of the matter is, oh, this is the opposite of Wilson, hang on. Oh, wrong direction. This might be the start of the brand spanking new rebranding of Jaquel. No longer the world's worst YouTuber. Okay, I'm still the world's worst YouTuber. Have you watched this video so far? But as well as the Half-Orc Supreme. Half-Orc Supreme was always supposed to lean toward my magical side more than my social personality side, but it's still social media persona. That's a conversation for another day. Normally I start off the video strong and dwindle off. Thanks, Dionysus! At the end of the day, I definitely feel as if this is the start of a new beginning, but only if I allow it to be. There are a potentiality of new things to come, new endeavors, new sights to be seen through your lens for your viewing pleasure. But it's up to me to do something about it. Because I don't know how many times I have said that I was going to do something, and it just didn't happen. The third part of the review of Rise of Skywalker never came. And I don't know if you watching this even know that particular video. The first two exist here. The second part of the Ouija board video. Maybe that could actually happen, who knows? There's a lot of things that I said I was going to do. Such as the Suicide Mouse video. Anybody else remember that creepypasta? Where there was actually a fan-made video to go with the creepypasta? Or was it that the fan video was made and then the creepypasta was made about it? I don't know. That's something that I was hoping to find out in the coffee table internet adventure about Mickey Goes to Hell, aka Suicide Mouse. There is also, all the way back, yes, this is my number 4 right now, because if I tried to do that, I would just, this works, okay? I hope this doesn't mean anything. I'm just trying to put up 4 fingers, okay? At the very beginning of my channel here, I said that I was going to do a video talking about the difference between mocha and mocha. That mocha is a type of coffee and it is a type of blend in the way it's roasted and ground, as opposed to the way that most coffee brands will have you think that mocha means chocolate. It's simply that they would start putting chocolate in the coffee to make it taste like it was mocha, and over time, mocha just meant they put chocolate in the coffee. When there's actually more to it than that. I didn't do that either. Point is, I have a habit of behavior. I have several habits. But this one is probably the most prolific. Saying I'm going to do something and just not getting around to it. And with any luck, maybe I won't drop the ball on this one. Maybe I'll actually take the time to pick it up and see how it goes. And if it's something that ultimately amounts to nothing, at least I can say that I tried. I went down swinging and I fucking tried. Yeah, I said that in the internet comment etiquette video. I've been holding on to that thought for a long time. Now, if you are still here at this point in the video, I would like to hear what you have to say about it in the comments, dear viewers. Your feedback actually means a lot to me. I ask on TikTok, I ask here from time to time, what is your opinion on everything? Did you like this video? Do you like the idea? Do you like the idea of the direction that this might potentially take? Let me know in the comments below. I can actually point down and it hands us off to the comments. Your feedback means a lot. It actually does. Even if nothing comes from it, I at least take the time to try to listen to it. And I want to thank you for everything that you have given to either this channel here or my TikTok page. It means a lot. And before I tie this off, I'm going to hand it off to our sponsor. Take it away! That's right, dear viewers, we have a sponsor today, and that sponsor is you. Thanks to you who have considered the thingy before, we are able to make this social media, TikTok and YouTube, the main thing that we do. Thanks to you sponsoring the channel, we are able to get by and make our own little world go round. Thanks to the humble generosity of our sponsor, you, we are able to do some incredibly cool things, such as put food in our belly, continue to buy witchy and spiritual and occult things to continue our practice, and then in turn, have something to talk to you about. Get offerings for the gods that we worship and are a part of our life and our practice, such as, but not limited to, statues, crystals, candles, drinks, incense, food, and libation offerings. Thanks to you, I am able to make sure that I am not living in a cardboard box. I am able to make sure that I am not living under a bridge somewhere. And thanks to you and all of the help that you have given, past, previous, and in the future, my life could be a lot worse, and it is not, thanks to our sponsor, which is you. And if only you are willing and able, could you please consider continuing to be our sponsor, and hopefully we can get this page and the rest of our social media platform off the ground, and maybe, just maybe, this can become something bigger than all of us. Maybe. I don't know. That sounded pretentious, but I'm leaving it in. And until next time, I'm going to bid you adieu. Take care and much love.